obviously I know who you are.
Yeah.
We've met. Lovely time in good old Paris. But so let's start off by just introduce yourself, not your role or anything, just you. Give us a little introduction.
Of myself. Wow. So my name is Harry. Online, I am known as Faunic to many people. Probably more people call me Faunic than I do Harry, just because of like my line of work, I guess. I am a third-year maths student at Warwick University, looking to do a teaching qualification once I finish. What else do I do? I am an avid cook. I post continuously on Twitter of everything I cook, and I play games quite a lot, too much probably.
It's never enough.
Trying to do a degree. Yeah, that's basically me. Without talking about like my role, that's basically my hobbies.
And as I said, me and you met when we went to. You came along to the Paris Bootcamp for Nova, the first bootcamp.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, the first one, the good one, the best one, because me and you were there.
Are you saying that the next one was inadequate?
Inadequate, yeah. You need to be at all of them. I've decided.
Yeah, I was too busy.
Too busy.
Busy man. Yeah. Well, we're nearing the end of the university season right now. Like we've actually got games tonight, but.
Oof. In what game?
Valorant. That's my game. So I am the captain of the Warwick first team.
Oh jeez.
So.
How you doing?
We have a best of 3 tonight. So, there were how many teams? So in NSC there were roughly 230, I think, teams that started, and in that we got to the round of 16, but then went out in the first double elimination bracket, so we came like 13th overall seeding, and then Newell, we came 16th at the end of 15th by the end of Swiss, and we're currently in the 9 to 16 double elimination bracket, and that's starting today. So we could theoretically come 9th if we win the bracket, but somewhere between 9 and 16 right now is how we're doing.
It's not bad.
But yeah, so we'll see what happens.
So
obviously it's I think the standard of gameplay has just increased since last year. People are just better. There's more people playing, so like we came first last year. I think even if we had like the same squads, because our squad had to change because like people graduated and stuff, even if we had the same squad, I think it would have been a lot tougher to get top spot because there's just so many good teams now. So
I mean,
I'm not mad.
No, can't be mad. No. Still doing well.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing well, and people are just good. King of a small hill. That's what I like to say.
So this is the Esports Society, for anybody who doesn't know, the Valorant team for Warwick. Big up Warwick, yeah. And as you might have seen from a very, 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 very viral TikTok, you have a Esports Centre.
Yes.
Would you like to tell us a bit about the Esports Centre?
Yeah, that TikTok. I remember we because the TikTok was done by a girl called Bing Bing, who actually Bing Bing ran against me in like the elections for Equal Opportunities Officer when first time it came around. But I think she's like one of the content creators for the League of Legends community, and she's did that TikTok and suddenly it had like 2 million views, and we're like, oh, okay, fantastic. I mean, good publicity. But yeah, so the Esports Centre, it has, the Thought Child was done in March of this year, and it was green-lighted by the university at a very similar time. It was built all over the summer, and it opened on Freshers Week, or near Freshers Week this year. So it has 24, with a couple spare, like locked away, 24 setups of like top-of-the-range PCs. We're talking like 3000 series graphic cards and like 240Hz monitors. And obviously it's got all the like the RGB and the cooling. It does look like a proper gamer setup. But yeah, so 24 setups, It's supposedly, so it's a pay-as-you-go system. You pay for hours, kind of as you would like a gaming cafe. But priority is given to competitive teams and event goers. So if you're a member of the society, then sometimes when you play on a team or you go to an event that we're running, you will be able to use the center for free. And more so, it's a very good piece of infrastructure to have for the future. I think that the good way to phrase it is like, yeah, it's something for the future. As esports grows and grows and grows, stuff like this is gonna become more in demand, and already having that infrastructure is just gonna put us in such a better advantage against other universities. And other universities are picking up and catching up. So you see universities like, well, Staffordshire has now got their own esports degree and have their own infrastructure for that. Kiel and Roehampton also have their own esports centres. And more universities like Manchester, I think Aston as well, are picking up esports degrees, fellowships, or like esports management. All these kind of degrees are kind of falling into it, and having an esports centre or some kind of infrastructure there is blowing up. I think one of the best things about our esports centre, it's completely mobile. All of the tables, setups, all of the walls, like the entire building, like section of the building, can be collapsed, put into a truck, and shipped elsewhere in the country. So we can put it on tour, which we have already done. The esports centre went on tour to the British Motor Museum. Can't remember why. I think it was some kind of like World Racing Day, Motor Day, something like that, whatever you would want to call it. And for that, we set up all of the PCs inside as an exhibit for the Motor Museum, and we set up games like Rocket League, Trackmania, F1 Racing, all of these games that can run perfectly fine, and members of the public could come in, time trial, try these PCs out, and it just kind of gets the word out through a nice little local business. I can't remember where it is. It was about 45 minutes away from the uni, near Milton Keynes. I can't remember where it is.
I know there's a motor museum in Coventry. I'm not sure if it's that one.
That's the Transport Museum.
Ah.
The British Motor Museum. I mean, I can Google this. Lighthorn Heath. Okay, that's not helpful. Let's scroll out a bit. Banbury. Where it's close. In the general Coventry, Warwickshire area is where I'm gonna say. But yeah, so we can put this out to local businesses, local areas, and the fact that it can go on tour. So I think over the summer, when the campus is shut down, there are plans to have it prop up across the country in different areas to just build up publicity and use it rather than just having it gathering dust during the summer.
Was that an idea from the beginning that it was going to be mobile?
I think as it was being theory crafted, as the idea was forming, the idea for it to be mobile just kind of came about, and they were thinking always like, oh, so like how can we construct this so that we can make it mobile? And I think it was done really well. And I think the big props to all of the university staff and kind of the the people who ordered and built and got this stuff done. Like, it was all done so efficiently that it was finished. The construction, so to speak, was started probably like May or like June, July, that kind of, and finished early September. It took a mere matter of months to go from thought to actually being there. So yeah, and also just as like a more about the center, so it's not just for students. So one of the best things why it's there for students is because a lot of students come to the university and say, oh, I would love one thing we hear so much in the society is, oh, we would love to play, I would love to join your society, I would love to play games for you, but I didn't bring my PC to university. I just brought a little laptop or something, which is quite common. A lot of people leave their setups behind, especially if they're their parents can't transport their rig to university. They will just have a little laptop.
You see a lot of MacBooks at uni, MacBook Airs, and they're not running any games. Yeah.
No, exactly. No. They're running League at 20 frames per second, without a doubt. So having this infrastructure there gives everyone the equal opportunity to play games. There you go.
Oh, smooth, yeah.
I know. So it is all about equal opportunity, giving everyone a fair chance and giving everyone the right chance to play games and like it's just another opportunity for someone to have. Like whilst there may be sports facilities on a campus where like people go to universities, now I can finally try all these things like tennis and climbing and squash and badminton and all these things. This is just another thing to add to that plethora of opportunities.
100%, and that does bring it perfectly segued into your role in inside the society.
Yes. So my job at Warwick Esports is the Equal Opportunities Officer, and to be the Equal Opportunities Officer is to provide equal opportunities. It is literally that obvious, but like in terms of like what can I do, I think a nice way to describe it is it's another spin on a community manager, but whilst a community manager will quite often handle the front end, someone who's an equal opportunities and diversity officer will handle the back end. So an analogy would be like if the community manager is the person that runs parties in a room, the equal opportunities person is the person that makes sure the room is safe and secure and that everyone can access it and everyone knows where they're going, and that it's like doing like a risk assessment. It's the person that makes sure that the space of the community and that the community itself is running healthily and everyone gets the right chances. So examples of things I've done would be writing the code of conduct and general Discord management, because obviously a lot of these communities are run on Discord. We have esports center. Like obviously, I'm not saying I made the esports center, but it's another example of an equal opportunity for students. One of the big areas of my job as well is kind of recruitment and advertisement, making sure everyone knows about the society. I was around on like the open day talks and talking to prospective students, but like freshers during freshers week, talking like advertising the society. Another thing I did last month actually was it was the start of this month. I went to Worcestershire College to do a talk to people doing a BTEC in esports, talking about how to get job experience in the esports industry and what Warwick Esports and the University of Warwick do for esports students wanting to study esports. And I think one of the other major things I do is running events and awareness campaigns for minorities in esports. So we like to time this around the kind of the yearly months, if you will. So for example, for Pride Month, we ran a Minecraft event in support of like LGBT, and we ran a fundraiser for Stonewall, and we had this wonderful like Minecraft Hunger Games thing where we did in collaboration with the Minecraft Society, and we set up like a donation system so that every time someone donated £3, a random person in the server would get flung into the sky. Like that got used like 100 times. It was incredibly funny because so many people died. For Black History Month, we invited Melanin Gamers, who are an activist group helping support people of color and women in the gaming industry. And then we also ran a Tekken tournament because fighting games, the esports scene for fighting games, was pioneered by colored communities back in the 1970s. However, modern industries favored the Korean esports of StarCraft, and therefore the Korean and Asian esports industry was provided a lot more funding than the North American colored esports industry. So therefore that's why a lot of fighting games, their esports scene has fallen by the wayside. So we thought that was a really interesting story and a really interesting concept, so we wanted to make awareness of that. And one thing we're working on actually right this moment is it's currently Disability History Month, and one of the things they're focusing on is hidden disabilities and mental illness. So we are currently making an event. I'm not sure whether it's charity yet, but we are in the process of making an event to help support people with hidden disabilities and mental illness. So that is something in the pipeline. But yeah, so that's a general snapshot of things I do and like how, and just it's just general it's another spin on community management, but in a more broad sense, in a more macro sense.
Why do you feel that like inclusion, especially in the gaming sphere, is so important?
I think like one of the things you see about the gaming communities as a whole is it's quite like white male dominated, as you might probably see in like, I don't know, many sporting societies as well. It's a common problem across all sports, let alone esports, but it's still an issue. So being able to provide the right opportunities and the right awareness for many people, because a lot of people aren't like when you try and approach some industries and some organizations, they're very unaware of esports as a whole, let alone the sociology and ethics behind a lot of the esports stuff. So it's quite a deep topic and quite a niche topic as well, because at the end of the day, like if you look at everyone on the globe, it doesn't affect like a large percentage of people, but regardless, these people need to be represented, and like within our communities, it's important to make sure that everyone feels like their voice is heard and that they're getting the right opportunity. I think the one thing I haven't mentioned yet, I mentioned a lot about so I mentioned LGBT, BLM, and I mentioned the disability stuff. The gender gap as well is one thing I have mentioned, which is very important. One of the things that we started at the start of this year, or the academic year, was this thing called the PAC, which is our women and non-binary only gaming community. So it's a safe space for run by women and non-binary people for women and non-binary people, where they just get to be with people, be with other women who are interested in esports and gaming in general, and they'll have constant community nights. They even have their own active teams. So last year, Newell, which is one of the University League runners, started a women's only league, and they actually started women's only Valorant League as well this year. And last year we had no participants because we weren't able to garner that. But ever since we introduced the pack, we now have 4 female-only competitive teams from Warwick University alone. And we've gone from 3 active members, like women and non-binary members within our community, to at least 80 within 2 months of the pack being created. So it just shows that when we put care into these initiatives and we give people a voice and we give people an opportunity, it just invites so many more people to take part in something that they're interested in.
Do you feel that has something to do with because we're both members of the gaming community, we both see it, is that the reason so many women and non-binary people have flooded to that? Do you feel that it is the fact that it is a safe space, because gaming community is incredibly, still horribly misogynistic? They are.
Exactly. Women need a safe space because most spaces aren't safe for them, and that's a shame. That is a real shame. Like, I know this, I say from experience, I am not a woman, just like putting it out there. But when I play with I have a female friend who I play Valorant with, and when I play with her, we'll go into like a ranked game duo queue. Within 5 minutes, someone on the other team's already commenting on the fact that she's a woman. Like, yeah. Where's your boyfriend? Like, why are you getting carried? Who's boosting you? And it's just like, it's so demoralizing, like, to have to go into it. And the thing is, people say, just mute them. Just mute them, just ignore them. But why should you have to be, as a woman, play a game with the expectation to shoot yourself in the foot by not being able to talk to anyone else? Well, like, why should you be expected to mute everyone else? That sounds very counterintuitive, to be inclusive, if you're expected to interact with the community differently because of your gender. It's
at every level as well. Like, I understand why women don't want to a lot of the time go into pro play, because it's at every level. Yeah. Like, I see on the Twitter, all of our girls, highest level of female Valorant there is, getting abused in games just constantly.
Exactly. And one of the ways we like to describe esports is as like there's 3 like spheres. There's like the collegiate sphere. There's there's the amateur sphere. There's the collegiate and like the uni sphere, and then there's the professional sphere. And like similarly, there is types of abuse that occur in an amateur sphere, a collegiate sphere, and a professional sphere. Like take, I don't know, Twitch chat in any VCT game changes. Like it's incredible the amount of people that will specifically go to a Twitch chat because like, oh, I'm going to say mean things about the women. Have you got something better to do with your life? Probably not. I don't know. It is incredible, and that's why stuff like that needs to be done. Like I think, and we work with a lot of organizations like this to make sure these things get better. So, like for example, Women in Games, which is quite one of the largest organizations for these kind of things, is one of the partners, and I think it might be a sponsor. That's like, I think it's a partnership. There's like partnerships and sponsorships, and I can't remember the lists, but they're at least a partner for the esports center. They've got their lovely like logo on the esports center, as well as things like Special Effect, and I think we've got Coventry Football Club, a bit not related, but these kind of organizations are like they are looking to make the esports industry a better place, and the more people that try, the better it will get, and that's just fundamentally how it is. So we just need more people to try.
Do you feel like companies such as Riot and other companies that are starting to kind of push game changers and other tournaments that include these marginalised groups, do you think that is helping push them forward? Do you think they're going about it the right way?
Yeah, so I think there's quite an interesting way where there's an interesting question you can ask, where it's like, how much is too much? When do you go too far, and then you reach levels of like, you start talking about topics like tokenism and whether women feel like they're actually getting an opportunity, or they're only provided an opportunity to look like that the company is giving them an opportunity, and therefore it's like an extended PR stunt. So it's in that way, when you start pushing more and more, some people can find it more of a fragile topic. But I think what's important is this is something actually my dad has told me, because he is like a minorities champion at the place where he works, and it's that people who have less of an opportunity need active support. It's kind of like the analogy he used was like a fire. So like the esports industry is like a fire, and it's burning really well, and it's like continuing, and it's like it's being fueled by like the players and the people and the professional scene, and it's overall like it's a good fire. Then you take like the women's scene, and that fire doesn't exist, and is constantly being extinguished by the toxicity and the misrepresentation that occurs. So therefore it needs a fire starter, it needs the spark to start the fire. So people will sometimes say like, oh, why are you giving women extra opportunities? Why are you giving them their own platform? And it's because they need it in order to kickstart the opportunity. There's a fine line between equal opportunity and equality. To reach equality, we need to give minorities extra opportunities so that they can have the same platform. So I think these extra opportunities that Riot and other companies are giving is a perfect example of the extra platform that women in the gaming industry need in order to reach equality in the industry.
I think as well as that, I think it must be just nice for female casual players or people who are interested in the scene to be able to see people who represent them playing at that level. Yeah.
Having a representation inside your game is quite important. So, slightly removing from the esports scene, but one thing Melanin Gamers told us was that, like, let's take Apex Legends, to have a black female character in a game is quite empowering for a black female person, and to have female characters who aren't purely clickbait is quite a nice representation for women who are playing the game. So similarly, to have in the esports scene, to have a role model, and to have people who can be shown as a role model, who will just exponentially add more, incite more women to get involved in gaming and as a casual player at all levels, really.
And it's something that needs to be done. I think if we looked 30-40 years into the future, the gap will be marginal. I think hopefully the gap will be marginal, because as generations grow up, like I've discussed this with people, I feel like when older generations as of people's parents, when they were 5 or 6, they'd be like, okay, I'm going to buy my son an Xbox, I'm going to buy my daughter a Barbie or whatever, and the daughter would play with toys or whatever, and the son would be gaming. And men have been gaming since maybe before 5, 6. Most of the girls I know that are professional only started playing when they're 12, 13. So that's 6, 7 years of like reflex speeds, everything that they've just completely missed out on.
Exactly, and it may be the case that if you were to poll like young boys and young girls, maybe boys will be more interested in like playing games than young girls, but that doesn't mean young girls shouldn't be provided the opportunity and should be dismayed from the possibility of wanting to play games.
Not at all, no. And it's sad the amount of people I hear that were like, I was introduced to gaming from my older brother. Seems to be the
exactly.
They didn't have their own console, they didn't have the opportunity or anything, which is just
that's actually something I think is something exactly Melon and Gamers because it was like a sister brother duo, and the sister said, "Yeah, my brother introduced me to games," and it shouldn't be like that. Like, it shouldn't be women get into the esports industry because they're roped into it by a male family member. It should be they're allowed to discover it on their own accord.
No, and I hope it gets to that.
Yeah, and I think it will get better. Like, I think the progression in the industry, like since this is a newer industry, we're in early stage on like the fight for equality. If you were to, I don't know, let's look at the football industry. This discussion started several decades ago, and now several decades later, in the present day, you have the female-only World Cup, like and like quite avid support for female players, female teams, female training grounds. So the fact that these discussions are already starting, and this is a new industry where these are new problems that like this industry is having to face. I think it will just be a matter of time before these issues get solved.
No, and as the audience grows for it as well, like I think it was 350,000 viewers total for the final of The Last Game Changers, which is not a small amount of viewers. And to advertisers and to Riot, that should show this isn't just a gimmick, this isn't just a PR stunt. They need to push this
exactly
as far as they can.
Yeah, for Twitch, that number of people is pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's massive. And I know Riot are one of there's thousands of companies that are pushing it. Like I see female CS has been going for years and years and years and years, and it's quite big, female CS, from what I understand. So
I think like one of the largest, one of the better, the new G2 Gozen, that has a lot of ex-female CS players on it, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. All of them, other than one, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's an entirely separate issue of stuff like the CS to Val transfer. This is just in the female esports sphere, but yeah.
Honestly, it's just the direction it's going. If it carries on going, I'm just like all for it. But I just hope it doesn't hit any roadblocks along the way.
Well, exactly. I think like. Yeah, hopefully it's sustainable, because like right now, like the game changes is happening quite often, and I'm impressed at like how much of a limelight Riot is able to put on it. But yeah, so I hope they continue to do it in the future, and they don't just think of it as like a project that they did once and then like don't need to do again.
How did you how did you find? Obviously, because you came to Paris to see the Nova team and everything. How did you find seeing them and their passion for the game? And
it was like, how do I describe it? In the word they used when we were interviewing them, I thought this is quite interesting. Where there was a question we asked them, where it was like, what in 3 words? What? Actually, I'm gonna Google this so I can sound smart when I say it.
I'm excited for this.
So, they were asked, what 3 words describe your experience with TENSTAR Nova, and all of them said fraternité, I think, or sœur, sisterhood, sistership.
Yes, yeah.
And I think it's incredible that level of camaraderie in a female sense is able to transfer over so incredibly quickly when you provide them with the same opportunity and the same platform. So the fact that being around them and seeing them as such a close-knit group of friends is like, it's incredible. Just seeing and the fact that they won, seeing them shine, like given the same opportunities that a male team would be given. But yeah, I think it was pretty incredible to just see them play and see them interact and see them like eat together and chill together, and like, I mean, obviously they'd like to stay in the same apartment together and whatnot. But yeah, so I think seeing TENSTAR Nova together was really it was really interesting, just seeing how well they got on as a team, considering it's quite a new team and quite a new and obviously TENSTAR's a new organization in general. So I think the process is accelerated when given the right platform.
All it takes is the push, and they can do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good phrase. So yeah, so everything in this sense just needs the push, and once things are going, once things are moving, you can sort of push less and less and less until it's on its own feet. And that's kind of what I was saying. So the extra opportunities are required, and once women are able to have their own industry where they feel comfortable and not experience inequality, then those extra opportunities are no longer required.
Do you feel that?
But it's a long way away.
Do you feel it's a realistic goal to achieve short term then, or is it just going to be the wait?
I think it's going to be a long time. Like, I mean, these kind of inequalities crop up everywhere, like outside of esports. And I don't think I don't think we're ever going to get to a point where like we're all going to live in harmony and rainbows and everyone loves each other, because that's just, I don't know, the human race cynicism. But I think we're going to get pretty damn close, and we're going to get to a point where I think we're not going to get to a point where no inequality occurs. I think we're going to get to a point where all inequality is shunned upon.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not it happens, that is up for debate, and based on the people that exist in a certain industry. Like, I can't change people's personalities, but if we create an atmosphere where this kind of behavior is shunned upon and discouraged, then I think that will be the best place for it, and therefore that is what can help provide things feel safe. I guess it's the same way as, like, I don't know, like when you've got a society and you've got laws, like not everyone is going to stick to those laws, but having those laws is what makes people feel safe. Mm-hmm. And it's a deterrent. So having the right deterrents for people to feel safe in their own, for the women to feel safe in the esports industry, once those are in place, I think that will be a pretty damn good point to be at. Don't know when we're going to reach it. Sometime in the next couple decades, I hope.
I hope so.
Yeah.
This is just something I'm interested in. Like, in terms of, obviously you get to meet so many different people from so many facets of life and everything with your role and being part of the. What is your favourite part of your role within the society?
What's my favourite? Yeah, I'm quite proud. I'm a quite proud person in general. So I'm quite proud to be like part of the society and like Warwick society, seeing how it grows. So I would say my favorite part of like doing what I do is just being able to see the people be happy. And like, this is like, so I, as well as doing equal opportunity stuff, I also run the Valorant community and or help run it with our Valorant coordinator Ray. And like us together, like when you get someone come up to you and say like, thank you so much for putting in the effort, like I had a really nice time, like I really appreciated the work you're putting in, like just stuff like that just makes you feel like it's worth it, and you're actually making a difference and affecting people. And I guess yeah, and that happens few and far between, because I don't know, uni students are shy, they don't like to say thank you, but yeah, I think the sense of knowing that the work you're putting in is being appreciated, that kind of like getting a little bit of that love back, I think is probably one of my favorite parts.
I can imagine. I mean, it's brilliant work that Warwick are doing, to be honest. Like, it's one of the main reasons I wanted to get the word out there as much as possible, because it's just brilliant. And I think other universities, and I imagine they will in time, as you said, other unis, I think everyone should just follow suit in terms of their esport and inclusion, and just the only way we're going to tackle it is together, so get everyone in.
Yeah, and it's definitely getting noticed. Like, we've had people join the society, not necessarily women, but people in general, say, oh, I came to Warwick University, I came to study at Warwick because of the esports society. I looked it up, I saw that Warwick had one of the best esports society in the country, and is one of the best esports society in the country, and therefore I came to study. I don't, and they like, we've had one person say literally like, I didn't care what I studied as long as I was able to be a part of this community and get this opportunity, because that's what I want in life. When people want like that infrastructure, when you if you decide like, oh, I want to follow esports, kind of like, where do you go after college? So this is like being able to provide that stepping stone for people is pretty incredible, and the fact that it's getting recognized is even better.
I can imagine. Right, I think that is. Yep, that is every question. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. You're very welcome.
Any final words? Anything you want to plug? Anything upcoming?
Any final words? If anyone sees a Warwick team on a stream doing well, support them and not the other uni, because all the support helps, I guess. What's our best team? Like, it's definitely not Valorant. I can tell you that much. As the head of the Valorant first team, I can assure you there are teams in other games who are more leaders in the thing. I think like Warwick Ducks, our Dota team, they're like national champions 2 years in a row or something like that.
Go
and they're
Ducks.
like our Go Ducks, our league first team. They're first. They were, last time I checked, they were first. But yeah, so follow us on Twitter. There you go. That's the plug.
The plug.
We've got a Warwick Esports account, and we've got an Esports Center account for Esports Center specific stuff, if you don't care about the university. But yeah, follow me on Twitter. I quite often refer to the follow to follower ratio. I call it my KD ratio on Twitter. My KD is positive on Twitter at the moment. I want to keep it that way. So please follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, I'll put the
as I said, I all 90% of what I post is food. So
if you like food, then below.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone likes food.
I'll put my HelloFresh friend code in the. Everyone gets £20 off. I don't know. No, that's everything.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.